Back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. Tonight in this video, it's October 5th. We're going to go over my Week 5 start-sit charts. We're going to go through every game happening in Week 5. We have bye weeks starting next week, so this is our last full week for a while, I think, and maybe until like Week 12 or something. And then if you want to skip around to whatever game you need, there's timestamps in the description below, so use those if you need it. Again, the description in the link in the description, you can also you can click on this and view the charts yourself. So let's hop right into it. I do have a handful of tools that you guys can use here. The fantasy points allowed by position. If you need to still check the waiver wire report, you can do that, as well as the DraftKings Sportsbook, which will give you basically all the spreads and the team totals and the game totals. Really nice, useful tool when making some decisions. But let's hop into the Thursday night football game. The Colts at Denver Broncos. Broncos favored to win by 3.5. That line might have changed. I'll have to update that. 42.5 in this one. On the Colts side, as far as must starts, it's kind of shaky. Jonathan Taylor has been ruled out. Matt Ryan, just a low-end QB2 for Superflex leagues. Naheem Hines is probably going to get a slight boost in snaps. I don't know if he's going to get a lot of carries. I charted his 69 games that he's played as a professional here for the Colts. Only 4 times he's gone over double-digit carries. So I think maybe 8 to 10 carries, hopefully 4 to 5 receptions. He's a PPR RB2. Michael Pittman Jr., he's a wide receiver 2 for me this week. He draws a tough coverage matchup with Patrick Surtain Jr. I still want to get Pittman in there, but you just got to limit your expectations a little bit. And then I think Alec Pierce is starting to emerge as an interesting guy. I think in 12-team leagues, you want to grab him on your bench. Say no to the Colts defense, and then we'll just monitor all these guys. Mo Ali Cox had a massive game last week, but it still feels a little too good to be true to start. The Broncos do allow a decent amount of fantasy points to the tight end position. Let me double check that number for you guys. Denver allowing about 12.95 PPR points to the position at tight end. So we'll monitor that, but otherwise I'm kind of shying away from the Colts in this one. On the Broncos side, I think Russell Wilson and the offense got things heated up last week. He's a top 10, top 12 quarterback play, so use him as you would normally. Cortland Sutton appears to be locked into a wide receiver 1 role. He's playing fantastic. I expect good things from him in this Thursday night matchup. And then Jerry Jeudy, a wide receiver 3 for me. Of course, the big loss here was Javonte Williams, gone for the season, so that makes Melvin Gordon a low-end RB2, probably a flex play if you need to get him in there. I do think he can be, a nice 8 to 10 point PPR floor. Start the Broncos defense again. No Jonathan Taylor, and then we're going to monitor these guys. Mike Boone. We're going to monitor. Latavius Murray might be in the lineup for this one. We'll see if he gets any usage. I actually think long-term I might prefer Latavius Murray, so I listed him as a stash play. The tight end's hard to trust here. Maybe we see the rookie Greg Dulcich. Maybe not this week, but maybe next week. So we'll watch for him in the future. And we'll see if Mike Boone can do anything. But that's the Broncos and the Colts. I think the Broncos are going to take this one at home, move to 3-2. Let's move on to the Sunday London game. The Giants at the Packers. 8-point favorites for Green Bay, 41 implied in this one as far as must starts. On the Giants side, it's really Saquon Barkley. That's about it. It looks like Daniel Jones got some limited working at practice today, so he's leaning towards playing. I think he's just a QB2 for Superflex for you guys. Say no to the Giants defense. Really nobody we can trust down here on the bench side. For the Packers, I think Aaron Rodgers, a fringe QB1, probably a top 10, top 12 play at best here. You're starting Aaron Jones. I think you want to get A.J. Dillon in there as a low-end RB2. Again, A.J. Dillon, he's a volume play. He's going to get 15 to 20 touches in this one. He should be able to get a nice high-point floor, and he hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1, so maybe Dillon finds the end zone in this one. Robert Tonyan can be a streaming tight end. And then I think both Allen Lazard and Romeo Doubs proved last week that they can be, wide receiver 3 flex plays for us. If you guys have questions on Green Bay side, let me know in the comments. Start the Packers defense, and then Randall Cobb, Christian Watson will monitor those guys from afar. I like the Packers here. I don't know if I like them by 8, but I like the Packers to at least win this game. Moving on to the Sunday early games, the Steelers at Buffalo Bills. Buffalo favored to win by 14, over under 46.5. Kenny Pickett getting his first career start. I don't think we can advise to get him in a lineup in a Superflex league. I think he should be picked up in Superflex, but I don't know if we're going to throw him out into the fire against Buffalo. Najee Harris, just a running back 2 based on volume. Pat Freiermuth could be a low-end tight end 1. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens should both be in there as wide receiver 3 flex plays. Say no to the Steelers defense. Claypool on the bench, Jalen Warren, nothing more than a stash play in case something happens to Najee. You want to get your Bills in this one. Josh Allen, of course, I don't need to tell you to start him. You're starting Stephon Diggs. I think Devin Singletary has really just cemented himself as the RB1 in this offense, so he's an RB2 for me. Gabe Davis, I have him listed as questionable, but on Wednesday for the practice report, I saw he was full participant, so that's good news for his ankle. Wide receiver 3 with some upside there. The Steelers not very good on defense right now. They're allowing a fair amount of points to the wide receiver here, about 40, almost 40 points per game to the wide receiver. So if you think of Diggs, Gabe, and Isaiah McKenzie, that's kind of where those points are going to go. And I'm going to say take the over on those 39.5 points. So I like Gabe. I'm okay with Dawson Knox as a low end tight end one. And then again, with Isaiah McKenzie, he needs to clear concussion protocol first. But if he's good to go, I like him in PPR leagues as a low end wide receiver 3 flex. Start that Buffalo defense. You're going to get some turnovers in this one. Zach Moss, James Cook will monitor those guys from afar. And then Khalil Shakir, he's going to be the number 4 wide receiver with Jamison Crowder and his broken ankle. Just someone we want to monitor more so for dynasty purposes, but it's coming up Bills in this one. Bills should roll at home against the Steelers. Let's move on to a fun AFC game. The Chargers at the Browns. LA favored to win by 3. You got 47.5 implied in this one. You're starting Herbert, Eckler, Mike Williams. These guys are locked into roles for us. Gerald Everett, I think, has proven himself to be a top 10 tight end so far, so continue to use him. The big question here is Keenan Allen. Now, he didn't practice on Wednesday, so he's kind of in doubt for this weekend. So if no Keenan Allen, that makes me like Everett, Williams, Eckler even more. If Allen plays, I'm hesitant to get him in my lineup with that hamstring. I just don't want to risk any re-aggravation or any kind of, plays first quarter and then he gets pulled kind of thing. I think we want to kind of go with caution with Keenan Allen. So if he plays, he's a toss-up for me. He's a flex play. Say no to the Chargers defense. We're going to monitor Josh Palmer, Carter, Michelle, Parham from the bench. Josh Palmer had a knee thing, I think, last week. That's why he didn't play very much. I think a lot of people are in a 12-man league. I think he's still worth holding on to as long as Keenan Allen has this hamstring situation. On the Brown side, Jacoby Brissett, quarterback 2 for Superflex leagues. You're starting Nick Chubb, no doubt. Kareem Hunt needs to be in your lineup as a low-end RB2 in PPR. David Njoku coming through as a tight end 1. I think he's a top 10 tight end the rest of the way. And then, oh man, Amari Cooper really let us down last week against the Falcons. I think he's a wide receiver 3 flex this week. I think it's annoying how high his highs are and how low his lows are, but I think you want to continue to leave Amari Cooper in your lineup. Say no to the Browns D. Leave these guys on the bench. It's a tough game. The Chargers traveling east for a noon game here. I don't know if I love it. I'm going to go with the Chargers, but I think this is going to be a tight game. Nick Chubb, Chargers defense is pretty bad against the running back. It might be a big Nick Chubb game. Moving on to the Bears at the Vikings. Vikings favored to win by a touchdown, 44 implied in this one. Kirk Cousins, a nice quarterback 1 option if you're streaming. You're starting Dalvin Cook, you're starting JJ. Irv Smith, just a low-end tight end 1 option. I don't know if I love it. And then Adam Thielen, I like him as a wide receiver 3 flex play. Go ahead and start that Vikings defense, one of the better streaming options this week. Osborne and Madison. I mean, Madison's worth holding on to on the bench here. I don't know about Osborne. Don't start these guys just yet. It's going to take a Dalvin Cook injury for Madison to be in our lineups. On the Bears side, Justin Fields may be a quarterback 2 for Superflex leagues. I have Montgomery listed as questionable. I don't think he's going to play. We'll see. If he does not play, I want to play Khalil Herbert. If Montgomery's in, we're not going to use Herbert, and Montgomery's going to be an RB2 flex play. Maybe Darnell Mooney if you need to. I think he's still worth holding on to in deeper leagues. He's kind of a risky wide receiver 3 flex play. Say no to the Bears defense and then no to these guys down here. This one's coming up Vikings for me. I think they improve to 4-1 at home against the Bears. Let's move on to the Lions and the Patriots. Interesting game here. We're waiting for the health of Mac Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark. Patriots favored to win by a field goal, 46.5 implied. As far as must starts in this one, I think you've got to get Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson in your lineups this week if you got them. Great matchup. The Lions are one of the worst teams against the running back. They've allowed 8 rushing touchdowns. A little bit stingier against the receiving backs, but again, Ramondre and Damian Harris are going to run wild in this one. We're waiting for the health of Jacoby Myers. If he plays, he's a wide receiver 3 flex. If he doesn't play, I kind of like Devontae Parker, but it's all hinging on Mac Jones. If Mac Jones plays, that makes me interested in the receivers. If not, we're looking at maybe Bailey Zappi. And again, that's just more running for Stevenson and Harris. Maybe the Patriots defense. It really depends if St. Brown, Chark, those guys are out. I'm going to leave all these guys here on the bench, though, for the Patriots. On the Lions side, Jared Goff lit it up last week. He's a QB2 for Superflex leagues. I don't know if I trust him as a QB1, but if you need to stream someone, I'm open to it. Jamal Williams, as long as DeAndre Swift is out, you're going to use Jamal as a running back, too. He leads the league in rushing touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, if he plays, you want to get him in. He missed practice today, so we got to monitor that. TJ Hawkinson, I think he proved last week that he needs to be in our lineups as a tight end 1, and then watch the health of DJ Chark. If no Chark or Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's going to mean Josh Reynolds into an interesting wide receiver 3 flex play. So we got to monitor these guys. If you have questions on them, please let me know. Say no to the Lions defense. We're never going to use the Lions defense. And then monitor these gentlemen here on the bench. I kind of like the Patriots. If you tell me Mac Jones is going to play, I think the Patriots win this one at home. Moving on to the Seahawks and the Saints. Saints favored to win by 5.5, 46 implied total. I think Alvin Kamara is going to play in this one. He's got RB1 potential. Seattle Seahawks just not good against the run. They're giving up the second most points to the running back position. So AK-41 should be in your lineups. Chris Olave, I think he's proven to be a wide receiver 3 flex play. We're watching the health of Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston. As of Wednesday, both did not practice. We'll have to monitor these guys. If Winston plays, he's just a QB2 for Superflex. Michael Thomas, just a wide receiver 3 flex play. Start the Saints defense, I believe, and then monitor all these guys here from the bench. If no Michael Thomas, Marquez Callaway was the clear next man up for them, so monitor that. On the Seahawks side, Geno Smith, keep using him as a QB2 in Superflex leagues. You're starting DK, you're starting Tyler Lockett, and then I think Rashad Penny, man. It's a tough matchup against the Saints, but he looked good last week. I think you can start him as a low-end RB2 flex play. Say no to maybe Seattle's defense if you're in a pinch, but I'm probably going to lean against it. Disley's been catching touchdowns. Kenneth Walker, not yet. Noah Fant, nothing I'm too excited about. So I like the Seahawks here in this one, actually. If you tell me Andy Dalton's going to play, who I think Andy Dalton in Superflex leagues, he needs to be stashed. I didn't list him on here yet. He might actually be starting this week. So we'll see about this. But I'm kind of leaning the Seahawks here. I know it's at New Orleans, but the Seahawks offense looking good, looking really good. We'll move on to the Dolphins and the Jets. Dolphins favored to win by 3, 45.5 implied in this one. As far as the Dolphins side here, Teddy Bridgewater, QB2 for Superflex. You're starting Tyreek, you're starting Jalen Waddle, no questions there. I think the running back pecking order it's clear to me. It's Raheem Mostert. He's the guy you want to play. So he should have been picked up off waivers this week. I think he can be a low-end RB2 flex play. Edmonds, he's gotten the goal line touchdowns in the past. He's got 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. So he's kind of like a high volatile guy. He's not getting a lot of work as a receiver as we hoped for. So he's kind of more of like a RB3 flex play to me. Maybe start that Dolphins defense, but I don't know. I kind of like the Jets offense. They showed a lot to me last week against the Steelers. Zach Wilson, kind of a fun QB2 for Superflex. I think you're starting Breece Hall as a running back 2. Tyler Conklin, a tight end 1 option just on volume. And then you got the receivers here. I think Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, and Corey Davis are all in play as wide receiver 3 flexes. I would rank them as I have them shown here. Probably not going to use the Jets defense and then keep these guys here on the bench. I like the Jets. I think they're in a fun spot here for the upset. We'll see though. I'm gonna lean Dolphins, but I think the Jets are going to keep it close. Moving on to the Falcons and the Bucks. This one's going to be a blowout here. Tampa Bay favored to win by 9, 48 implied in this one. You're starting Tom Brady. I know Brady was cold the first few games here, but he's getting his receivers back. Looks good. He's a QB, he's a top 10, top 5 play this week. Leonard Fournette, a running back 2. You're starting Evans. You're starting Godwin. I think Julio's interesting as a flex play. Start that Bucks defense. Rachaad White, go check your waiver wires. He should have been picked up this week on the waiver wire run, but if he's still hanging around, stash him. He's going to be a guy that I think gets more work as the season progresses. Say no to these guys down here on the bench. As far as the Falcons, the Cordero Patterson loss was huge. I'm not trusting Algier or Caleb Huntley in this one. I know they were hot waiver wire pickups this week, but I'm not going to start one against the Bucs defense. Marcus Mariota, barely a fringe QB2 for Superflex leagues. Kyle Pitts missed practice on Wednesday. I think it's time to maybe get a good backup in case if you have Pitts, you should be looking on the wire for a backup tight end. If Pitts can't go, it's Drake London. That's about it. So it's looking bleak for the Falcons here. I would shy away from these guys here. I think Tampa Bay rolls at home. Easy win for Tampa Bay this week. Kind of a fun game here. The Titans at the Commanders. Titans favored to win by 2.5, 42.5 implied in this one. I mean, you're starting Derrick Henry. Tannehill as a super flex QB2 looks fine. And then the injury to our guy Treylon Burks here, the rookie, it's going to open things up for Robert Woods. I think he's a nice wide receiver 3 flex play. I'm open to starting the Titans defense. They look good against the Colts. Wentz always good for a turnover or 2. Monitor all these guys here on the bench. We're not going to use them in our lineups. But on the Commander side, I do have Carson Wentz listed as a low-end QB1. I think he can be a streaming option for you this week. He does look best as a QB2 in Superflex leagues. Let's get to the running back situation. Brian Robinson practiced Wednesday for the first time. He might not be activated in this game here, but very interesting. If you have Antonio Gibson, I'd be looking to sell him right now. Robinson's going to come in and take, some of his carries and his goal line opportunities away. But if no Brian Robinson, I'm fine with Gibson as a running back 2 this week. No Jahan Dotson this week. He might be out for a week or two with a hamstring. You're starting Terry McLaurin. You're starting Curtis Samuel. The absence of Jahan opens things up for Logan Thomas as well as a tight end streaming option. Like if you had Kyle Pitts, I think I'd rather start Logan Thomas this week. And then McKissick, just again, he has a high floor in PPR leagues if you need a running back or a flex play. Say no to the Commanders defense and then monitor these guys on the bench. Go pick up Brian Robinson if you can. He looked good in his practice videos today. The Titans are favored to win, but I'm going to go with the Commanders here. I like the offense. I think the Carson Wentz is due for a nice bounce back game. The Texans at the Jags. Jags favored to win by a touchdown, 43 total implied in this one. I think Trevor Lawrence, man, if you're streaming QBs, he's a top 10, top 12 play this week. He looked awful last week, but the whole offense looked bad. He fumbled a lot. It was the rain. It was a lot of situations going on. Tough matchup in Philly. I trust Trevor Lawrence. I trust James Robinson. In terms of points allowed to the running back, the Texans allow the most. So it's a smash spot for J-Rob. You're starting Christian Kirk. Zay Jones, we're going to watch him. He's questionable. If he plays, I'm open to him as a wide receiver 3. If he doesn't play, I kind of like Marvin Jones. I think ETN, low-end RB2 flex play in PPR leagues. The Jags defense is, definitely startable in streaming services. And then Evan Ingram, Jamal Agnew will leave these guys on the bench. If no Zay Jones, I'm open to Jamal Agnew. On the Texans side, Davis Mills, just a quarterback 2 for Superflex. Dameon Pierce, guys, he looks legit. I think he's in for a nice matchup this week. He's going to continue to get 15 to 20 touches, start him as a nice RB2. Brandon Cooks continue to use him as a wide receiver 3. And then if you need a low-end PPR running back, I suppose Rex Burkhead. Say no to the Texans defense and then monitor these guys here on the bench. The Jags at home by 7. I like the Jags in this one to continue their AFC South lead. Moving on to the Sunday late games, you have this one's going to be ugly. 49ers at the Panthers. This might be Baker Mayfield's last game starting for the Panthers. We'll see. As far as the Panthers side, I mean, you're starting McCaffrey. I think DJ Moore, questionable wide receiver 3 flex play at this point. I don't know if he's a must start anymore. If you have questions on DJ Moore, please let me know. I'm trying to avoid all Panthers except CMC, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Tough matchup for any team going up against the San Francisco 49ers. In terms of total PPR points allowed by a defense, 49ers are the best defense right now. They're allowing under 10 points to QBs, about 16 to running backs, 28 to receivers, and about under 7 for tight ends. So it's a tough matchup all the way around for the Panthers. But Jimmy G, quarterback 2 for Superflex leagues. I like Jeff Wilson. He looked really good the other night against the Rams. You're starting Debo. I give Kittle another chance. He could get loose in this one. And then I like Brandon Ayuk as a wide receiver 3 flex. Start that 49ers defense. They're probably the best defense play this week by a mile. Jawan Jennings, maybe Tyrion Davis-Price comes back. We'll see. But this one's all 49ers all day. They're probably going to frustrate Baker Mayfield significantly in this one. Moving on to the Cowboys at the LA Rams. Rams favored to win by 5, 43 total in this one. As far as must starts on the Rams, Stafford. He looked bad against the 49ers, but I think most quarterbacks and teams will. But to me, Stafford's kind of a fringe QB 12, top 15 maybe. You're starting Cooper Kupp, you're starting Tyler Higbee. After that, I don't trust Allen Robinson, Cam Akers, Henderson. Leave these guys on the bench, let them prove it to us. Maybe use that defense, but I don't know, guys. I was not inspired by what I saw the other night against San Francisco. Cooper Rush, a quarterback 2 for Superflex leagues. I think you're starting CeeDee Lamb. Give Dalton Schultz another try. It was his first game back last week. Maybe he's more involved. And then I got a bunch of flexes here for the Cowboys. I think Zeke, Tony Pollard, nice running back 2 options if you need it. Let me know if you guys have questions on there. And then Gallup and Noah Brown. Gallup played a lot last week, and I think he's probably going to overtake Noah Brown as the number 2 receiver this week. So I like Gallup and Noah Brown as wide receiver 3 flex plays. Start that Cowboys defense. And then I think Dak's going to play week 6, but we'll see. The Rams are favored to win this game, but I think the Cowboys, man, they might go in and steal it. That's probably where I'm going to go. Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles at the Arizona Cardinals. Philly's favored to win by 5.5. You got 49 total implied in this one. You're starting Hurts. I think Miles Sanders is a running back 1 going forward. A.J. Brown, of course. Dallas Goedert, a smash spot for Dallas Goedert. In terms of tight end points allowed, the best matchup for him. Cardinals allow the most tight end points per game here, about 20 points per game. So probably a big day for Goddard coming. Devonta Smith, I know he's been, boom bust, but wide receiver 3 flex is a good opportunity for him. Cardinals defense is bad, guys. It's one of the worst defenses in the league right now. They're allowing a lot of points here to the tight end, stingier against wide receivers here, but you want to get all your Eagles in here. Start that Eagles defense as well. Monitor these guys on the bench. As far as must starts on the Cardinals, I think you're going to continue to roll out Kyler Murray. James Conner, kind of a frustrating running back two right now, but continue to use him as a running back two. Marquise Brown continues to look good. You're going to start Zach Ertz. And then if you need a low end like running or low end wide receiver three flex play, Rondale Moore can be that guy for you. He should be picked up in 12-team leagues. Put him on the end of your bench and see what happens. I know DeAndre Hopkins is coming back soon, but they're going to have a role for Rondale. Say no to that Cardinals defense. Eno Benjamin, Greg Dortch, AJ Green, just monitor these guys on the bench. If anyone dropped DeAndre Hopkins, go ahead and pick him up. But this one's going to be Eagles. I know it's in Arizona, but I really like the Eagles right now. They're going to look to stay undefeated. Sunday Night Football, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore favored to win by a field goal, 48.5 implied. This one's going to be fun. This is a really fun Sunday night matchup. On the Bengals side, you're starting Burrow, you're starting Mixon, you're starting Chase, you're starting Higgins. If you can buy low and trade for Jamar Chase, go ahead and do it. Teams and defenses right now are really shadowing coverages towards Jamar Chase. That's what's been, really good news for T. Higgins. But you want to go ahead and start Chase and Higgins. Hayden Hurst, an interesting tight end one streaming option. I think at this point, I'd rather roll out Hurst over Kyle Pitts. That's kind of where we're at right now. And then Tyler Boyd, interesting wide receiver three option. In terms of fantasy points allowed, Baltimore, one of the worst teams here. They're allowing the second most points to the opponent, and they allow the most points to the wide receiver. So that's what makes me like Tyler Boyd a little bit. Probably going to say no to both defenses in this one. On the Ravens side, you're starting Lamar Jackson. J.K. Dobbins has earned my trust here. He's a running back two this week. You're starting Mark Andrews. And then we have to monitor the health of Rashad Bateman. He has a mid-foot injury, which maybe sounds like a Liz Frank kind of situation. If he can't go, you're going to want to play Devin Duvernay. So if you're waiting for Bateman, scoop up Duvernay off the waiver wire, stash him. Duvernay's been playing pretty well this year, so I like him as a potential PPR flex play if no Bateman. Say no to both defenses again, and then monitor likely Justice Hill. Justice Hill, I don't think he practiced today, so that makes me even like J.K. Dobbins a little bit more. Fun game here. I like the Ravens at home, but I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I'm a Bengal guy. I got I don't know if you can see, but I got the Bengals jersey in the background, so I'm gonna go with the Bengals in this one. And then we'll finish up here with Monday Night Football, another fun one. The Raiders at the Chiefs. Chiefs favored to win by a touchdown, 51 total implied in this one. You're starting both quarterbacks, Carr and Mahomes. You're starting Josh Jacobs, who looks fantastic right now. You're starting Devontae. You're starting Travis Kelce. After that, we have some questions. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's looked good, man. He's a top 5 running back right now, leaning in on touchdowns. I think you got to continue to use him as a running back too. Juju Smith-Schuster, I'm fine with him as a nice PPR wide receiver 3. Maybe it's Marquez Valdes-Scantling week. I can see him getting deep. I think he's an interesting, flex play this week. Darren Waller, been frustrating. I think you're going to continue to use him, though, as a top 5 opportunity tight end there. And then we're watching Hunter Renfrow. He practiced limited today, I believe. If he plays, he's just a PPR wide receiver 3 flex option for you. I'm open to starting the Chiefs defense, and then we're going to monitor all these guys here on the bench. If you're in a league right now and you need running back help, go pick up Isaiah Pacheco. He looks really good. And I think at some point here, he could cut into Clyde Edwards-Helaire, his workload. And if anything happens to Clyde, it's Pacheco season. So monitor him, go see if he's available on your waiver wire, stash him at the end of your bench, and then enjoy this one. I think we're looking at 2 really great primetime games. I'm going to roll with the Chiefs in this one. Again, I'll take I'm going to go with the upset with the Bengals in this one. Fun matchups, both interdivision matchups here. And that's it. That is our week 5 fantasy preview. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Again, use the timestamp, subscribe if you're new, like, comment, all that good stuff. Let me know if you have questions. And yeah, thank you guys so much for your time. Use all the links in the description, and we'll see you on the live stream later. Adios.